Hi, welcome back to Secret Life of Therapist. I'm your host, Dr. Habiba Zaman, and I have with me today Chris Irving, who is an actor, 15 years in law enforcement, and a certified life coach. We're going to be here talking about everything. But no, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to talk about. But we're going to try to start talking about dating, man's perspective on dating in this day and age.
Okay. I haven't been dating in this day and age. I don't think it's any different, I guess.
Really? Not at all? I mean, I know you haven't been dating for a couple of years now, but you have friends though, don't you? Who are dating or trying to see what it's like out there again.
No, they're pretty much all married, and except for one.
Okay.
He just got divorced, so I guess
Okay.
he's going to be going through all that.
Right.
So it's kind of like, I guess I'm going to be like living through his perspective.
Vicarious experiences.
Yeah, vicarious
Are you going to be his wingman?
and maybe his wingman. I don't know. But like, yeah.
Well, the reason I wanted to bring this topic up is there is a lot of buzz now, right, on dating and modern dating and what it's like to be dating now, some of the faux pas of dating. And we females in this field, of course, we can talk a lot about that, but that's from our experience. There's not a whole lot of male voices out there on love, even just love. What does love look like, and how does that feel, and what are you searching for?
Hmm. Um, yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything different or anything new. Um,
So it's
uh,
the exact same as it was when you were in your 20s.
I mean, except for the online stuff.
Okay, what
I
is that like?
think once you get past the online dating, and I guess nowadays I hear that like it's like you're doing Zooms and like there's something else. I don't know, something like it's not like just you swipe left and right. It's in text. I think there's like actual like you have to actually have a video conference with them or something like that,
Oh, really?
from what I hear.
Like you have to, or that's just something that is a feature? I
I
know.
think it's a feature. I mean, I think it's more of like a safety thing too, as well, to make sure you're talking to the person who you're talking to.
Right.
I
No more
guess.
catfishing.
Right.
Did you ever get catfished?
No,
Really?
never got catfished.
Lucky.
Um,
I did.
yeah.
Yeah. I did. But I know even when I was dating, because I was single for 8 years after my last divorce. And then in that time, there was a lot of catfishing. Actually, there was pictures out there with people who did not look like that when we met up.
Yeah.
Personalities ended up being different, but people wanted to FaceTime.
Yeah, which I hated
Why?
because it's like you're in your sofa on your bed. It's like bad lighting.
Bad lighting.
It's like my double chin would like with the camera it has to be perfect angle.
I mean,
It's
as an actor,
just
yeah, you thought about all those things.
it's just like because you would see yourself though too as well,
I try not to.
and
And the same thing with sessions. When we have the video sessions, I try not to look at that little box that's there.
you have to make sure what your background is, and like
Did you clean your house?
you have to clean everything. So
So you didn't like the FaceTime.
I didn't like the FaceTime.
Why? Because it was spontaneous or because
No, it was just like maybe I don't know. I feel like there's a bridge, between
instead of
us.
meeting in person?
Person, yeah. It's more
Okay.
face to face. You get that energy, that vibe
Mm-hmm.
when it's face to face. Like even phone calls were nervous, I guess. Like when I was in high school or college, you had to actually call people up
Yeah.
and talk on the phone.
Uh-huh.
Um, so, um,
But how was that later on in life? Because you were divorced before and then remarried now. So that whole transition, I guess my thing is, I really want to see if there are nuances between a, the different perspectives between how I would think about dating and how you thought about dating.
I mean, I would assume so.
Okay.
Different ones.
Like what?
I don't. I mean, um, like I mean, trying to figure out like I don't know. It's just more of like texting, I guess it was less pressure. I think like texting, it's almost like because you have time to text, right? Stop and think about what you're texting
Okay.
instead of be on the phone or like
Wouldn't you say on the phone was more real though? Because you're not having to pre plan and pre think what you want to say.
yeah,
You would get a truer version of the person.
yeah. I guess the same thing with that, and then like FaceTime each other. It was kind of like the same thing,
Did you get nervous before your dates?
but it was more. Oh yeah, I would always get nervous on dates, um, and there were some times where I'm like, I really don't want to do this.
Why?
Just like,
The not, I don't want to go on this date or I
because
don't
it's
want to do the
energy.
process.
It's like a lot of energy
It
to
is a
like
lot of it. It's an investment.
investment. You have to like try to enjoy, like. But there's sometimes like, but it wasn't like, it wasn't fair to the other person.
Yeah.
If I was just kind of like, I guess I'll just go on this date and see what happens. Blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Then you're not invested.
So, but my whole mindset was like, go and at least have like try to have just a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I always thought it was interesting, just like meeting new people, just different areas and everything like that,
Okay.
seeing what their life was like.
Always.
Um, but
Were you always curious about that? Like
I was
from
always, yeah,
before?
curious. Not before, I don't think.
Okay.
Um, because I guess like high school and college, it's like you kind of already know the person because we were
Okay.
friends or something like that.
Proximity. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're just there.
they're there. They're in the same
Yeah.
environment you're in.
You don't have to really put in effort to make those connections.
I mean, not put effort in, but like you already know that. Like,
Well, that's what I'm
if I meet
saying.
somebody from like Buckhead or something like that, it's like, okay, where are you originally from? You're usually from here, or what is your life, has been to here?
Mm-hmm.
Like in college, it's like, okay, you went to high school and then you came here.
Right. But then also, it's easier to make friends. And I'm just saying friends because that is the original basis of relational contact, right?
Hmm.
You have your friendships, and then when you're, what I tell my clients anyways is that it's so much easier to make friends when you're in school or when you're in college and things like that because it's proximity. I look at the person next to me. We have the same homework, we have the same class project, we have the same seating arrangement, or we just chose the same seats 3 days in a row. And so you can start making that connection. It's easier because it's there,
Right.
which is also why after college you don't necessarily stay in touch with those people anymore because they're not there anymore. They're not, it's not that easy access.
True. I mean, I try to stay with contact with my friends in college.
Right. But I'm saying a lot of those relationships don't last outside of it when
Oh,
you
right.
leave because that effort is, you have to then put in the effort.
Don't you think that more people get married when they're in college, right after they get out of college?
Well, yeah, because then you've built that connection with that person that was there.
Yeah.
Um,
So they don't have to like go through the process, I guess, if they don't find anybody.
well, yes and no. I mean, I have a lot of friends who are single now, right? They've either never been married or been married and then divorced. And so they're having to find out what friendship looks like separate from these pre-established, locations like college or a job or whatever. You have to go seek someone out now.
Right.
A lot of people, I do think, I agree with you, got married in that time. I did, right? I got married right after my bachelor's degree, and it happened to be. I told my dad this, and he wasn't very happy because he was talking about what we call nasib, which is fate, right? And he was like, it was fated for you to have whatever. I was not having a good day that day. And I was like, no, that's not why I married this person. I married that person because that's who I knew, that's who I connected with, and that's who I fell in love with. If I had been in another country, if I was in Bangladesh, if I was in Portugal, if I was in Spain, if I was in wherever, I would have gotten married with somebody there because I would have made a connection with them there.
That's okay. All my friends are like that. Like right after college, like my
Yeah,
sister, her majority of her friends, it's like right after college they get married
right.
or they get
Because
a
that's what we were
career.
supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're conditioned to grow up and believe that that's the next step.
Right.
Is that
Um,
how your marriage went?
yes, pretty much.
Okay.
It's like this is what you're gonna do. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay. And how long were you in that relationship?
Was it like 2.5 years, and then got married for a year.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, then I kind of found out, yeah, that's not the track I want to take.
Yeah. But I
Um,
think that's courageous, and a lot of people disagree with me on that.
I think more. I think it's more likely today. I think is
Than it was
more,
then, right?
especially when I mean, maybe women they want their careers first now instead of what
Because
it
that's
was
our
back
stability
then,
now,
right?
right?
Instead of back then, you married kids or job married kids, but now I think women are like, no, I'm gonna do stuff for myself first,
Right.
and
Find
then
out who I am.
right, and then like mostly in their 30s and early 40s is when they get married
Because
and have
mm-hmm.
kids, or they don't have
Otherwise,
kids.
the trend that I've seen in my work is typically around 33 if they're already married and they were married in their early 20s, let's say. Then they start to realize that might not be who I want to be with. And
Mm-hmm.
it's because they've had enough time to develop, right? And find their own identity, find out who they are, what's important to them, and all that stuff. You can't have that before 25. It's like I tell my kids all the time, like, you will not be making any life decisions before 30 because your brain is not fully developed until 25. And that's even hypothetical because that's if there's been no trauma, there's been no bond breaks where a relationship that you had with a caregiver has abandoned you in some capacity or another, if there's no drug use whatsoever or alcohol. I mean, but how many kids will you say that don't abuse drugs and alcohol right after high school or even in high school? So that delays that developmental process. So no, you should not be making any kind of permanent life choices before your brain has even fully developed to understand who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so the trend that I've seen is once they hit 30 and that perception changes, and then more and more so, if that becomes clear, this person that I'm with is not who I want to be with, or this is not the trajectory that I'm supposed to be on, that it becomes very unsettling to sit with that still. And like for you, it's easier, not easier, it's never any easier to make that kind of drastic life change, but it's more acceptable today than it was maybe when you chose to change up your life. And it definitely was when I decided. It was met with so much resistance from the community when I tried to get a divorce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it still hard
To what?
to decide, like, I don't want to be in this marriage?
Yeah. I mean, because my family and her family all expected
The
the
next step.
the next step and the whole, all that. But yeah, I knew it was like um, I mean, I knew like when in my 20s, I got out of college, I was like, I'm not getting married anytime soon. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, try to fulfill that goal,
Which was acting.
and like act something in the Hollywood acting, writing kind of industry, and like I had to become obsessed with it. And I think when you're obsessed with it, something like when I was in high school playing sports, basketball, I was obsessed with playing sports. I didn't have a
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend or anything in high school until my senior year, and then uh, met her in like a theater class my
Mm-hmm.
senior year. Um, but then in college, it was just focused on um, basically graduating and wanting to get out and like move to LA. And like one of my good friends, like we always planned that, since we were in high school to move out to LA. And then moving to LA was like, you know, that was the main thing that we were focused on. If you had a girlfriend, fine, you had a girlfriend, but it wasn't something that was serious,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Um,
And where did your first marriage fit into this life plan that was
well,
going on?
that's when I moved back to Atlanta,
Okay.
and um, uh, that's when I started law enforcement. When I moved back to Atlanta, and I just met up. I think it was a dating app
Okay.
back then. Yeah. Um, and so like moving back home, I haven't been home in like 10 plus years. So
Right.
like there's not really anybody I know here. All my friends have moved away or they're in North Carolina or in LA still. So um, it was that, kind of companion esque friend. And then I felt like, and that's when, parents are like, ooh, when are you gonna get serious? Because, you found your job. So let's I'm 29, 30 years old. Let's get
Yeah.
cracking. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I better do this.
That's societal pressure.
Yeah.
Do you think there's still that pressure to be married by a certain age?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, I'm not 30. I wish I was 30. I mean, I don't. I don't have any friends that are like 30 or anything like that.
Yeah.
I know people in my job that are mostly. I mean, these guys are and girls are in their early to mid 20s, and once they get their career, they get married and have kids. So I think
Expectation. It's an
it's
expectation.
still that
Yeah.
mindset of like, okay, I get married, I have to have kids, I have to have a career, I have to get married, I have to have kids. Um, Instead of just finding, finding what you want, who you are. Like I think all through your 20s, I think that's what I tell people. It's like have fun in your 20s, travel, have fun, find out who you are, make mistakes, and then um, decide on the next step in your I guess early to mid 30s. So
And even then, I don't know how many people who can say that it's that linear, right?
yeah, I mean,
It doesn't fall into line like that. I don't think there's this linear trajectory of what should be.
no, I mean,
I don't know if fulfillment comes from that, is my point, I guess.
of what? Just
Find a job,
find a
get
job.
married, have children.
I mean, it's been passed down from parents and all that. You see that through your parents, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
thing. So it's like, oh, I guess this is what I have to do. This is what I have to
Mm-hmm.
do.
I don't
Um,
know how many people stop and decide for themselves.
I don't think they do because, especially I think younger people, because they want things now, 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 now.
Yeah.
They want, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. So it's like, oh, I want to get a job, I want to get make money. I want, unless you, I mean, unless you want to have kids, you want to be you know, married. It's like, oh, that's. I feel like they want things faster now. And maybe that's why these kids in like careers or in my career, it's like again in their mid early 20s getting married early.
Really?
You know, they
Because
want.
I've seen the other opposite end of that, where with my clients and with my friends, especially the second time around, it's more selective now. So they'll be in their early 30s with the same pressure, and they still feel like they've missed out on something, or they're not catching up, or they're falling behind. So that pressure is still chasing them. But the conscious choice to decide, I feel like, is not so readily discarded.
I can see that. I'm just trying to.
Like my friend Insha, for example, right? He's been dating for a while, and it's as difficult as it is to figure that out. It's still been, but I don't want this in my life, so I'm going to say no. So for him, I don't know if, I guess that's what I'm asking. I don't know if that's a common thing, which I love. Another one of my good friends too. He's very successful attorney, has his life together, has his multiple businesses and everything, but he's very selective. And now he's close to, not close to, we're in our 40s, and he's debating and confronting that part of him, like what you had said. You had gotten married because it was the companion that was lacking when you came here. So he wants that companion, but at the same time, he doesn't want to just settle for anyone, especially in your 40s. You know what you want, you don't want what works, what doesn't.
Right. I think the older you get, the more selective. I
Mm-hmm.
know I would be.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like selective. Like when I was in 20s or whatever. It's like
Whoever's
whatever.
there.
It's
Yeah.
like I don't know if that's because you don't know yourself. I'm assuming you don't know yourself.
Well, how could you? Your brain is not developed.
Right. So,
But not just that.
but do you
I've
think
said this.
people get suckered into the whole marriage because they don't know themselves? So it's the first thing that's available, and like,
It's the thing that I could keep complaining about. It's the commercial, right? Every kiss begins with K. I hate that commercial because it brainwashes you that something's missing in your life if you don't have somebody to kiss.
right. So buy this ring,
On
buy
New
us,
Year's,
right?
yes, or
It's
on Christmas Eve, or on all these major Valentine's Day. I hate Valentine's Day too. Just all of these things where love is commercialized, and I want to say weaponized sometimes, that somehow if you don't have this, then something's wrong with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big market. Uh, sex sells, love sells.
But isn't it a false sell? Because if it's
I'm sure
not
it is, but
done correctly, you're divorced, I'm divorced. We know what it's like to try to make something work, and then it doesn't.
I mean, it's almost like, I guess it's kind of like poets back then. They would sell their poets for love, right? And women would read this. Oh my gosh, fantasy. It
Who
could
would read this?
women. I think mostly women. I don't know.
Uh huh.
I'm sure men did too, but it's like, oh, this. I think it's almost that. I think poetry is kind of like the same thing as um, the kiss commercials, or like the holiday movies kind of thing. Um,
Now, to challenge you, do you think that women want love and relationships more than men do?
Love and relationships, or
Whatever,
relationship and love.
whichever.
Um, I mean, I guess I think women want love more. Men want a relationship.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
Um, I think men can be more of a. They want. I wonder. I don't. I don't. Again, I don't know. I'm just, maybe men are more, or women are more comfortable with being alone. They rather find love than be in a relationship, and men want to be in a relationship, whether it's love or not.
Because they're not as comfortable being alone.
Maybe.
Okay. Is that
Um,
what you've seen from your experience? I'm assuming that's why you're saying that.
yeah, somewhat. Um,
I think a lot of women will agree with you.
Especially nowadays, I guess.
Meaning?
It's like divorce rates and everything like that. I feel like women are more comfortable, um, just doing their own thing.
Mhm.
It's like being in their 20s again or something. They have their career and they're just having fun. I think men, when they get older and then they're alone, it's just from my experience, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
It can get depressing.
Okay.
They can get depressive
Why is that?
because they're alone.
Okay.
Um,
Alone, as in they don't have a significant other, whether they love them or not.
right.
Okay.
We have friends and stuff,
But it's not the same,
but it's not the same.
even if love is not there.
Right.
Why is
I
that?
think.
Why is that? Why are the relationships so? Because a woman will tell you that aside from sex, obviously, right? The fulfillment that they get with the relationships that they cultivate, right? It's enough until the significant other who can show up and also provide what they're looking for. This is something that's being debated widely now, where women are more comfortable being alone because the alternative is being in a relationship where they don't feel valued or they're not respected,
Right.
or it's just like you said, they're just there, right? Because all the other things women now legally have the right to acquire for themselves. Before, women would stay in relationships for a long time because they had no other alternative. Like, it was only in the 80s where a woman could get a business. So I wouldn't be able to be me right now, who owns her own business and does all these things 40 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
40 something years ago. That would have been illegal to do. I would have had my dad would have needed to co-sign, or I needed to have a husband to be able to authorize that,
Mm-hmm.
or a bank account, or to get a loan to buy a house. Like, all these things women had no right to do, right? So we have the right to do that now, which is why it's not necessary to have that legal signature that was required by a husband or a father.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's something that we could do for ourselves now, we don't need the men for that. What do you think women need men for then? All the other things, right? All the other things that bring value to a relationship, which is not financial security, right? Now they're looking for someone to do this with, to have a conversation with, to bounce ideas off of, to feel that they can share their perspectives and it be respected, right? To have their presence and their just who they are as human beings, just be valuable enough for the other person to then show effort to match.
Right. I think like and a man doesn't want to have to feel the pressure or have to take care of
Which part?
her because
The emotional part, all the other things that they want.
we're like financially or
But
like
that's the debate right now. So if a man's not taking care of the woman financially, but they also are not providing that love, right? Because they just want
right,
that companionship. A woman is like, but I can get that emptiness fulfilled with my girlfriends
right, right,
or other friends because that emotional connection and mental connection and intellectual connection is
with your friends,
there. Mm-hmm.
right,
And they want that with a partner. So if a partner is not bringing that, they don't need to just sit through with the uncomfortableness of having an empty relationship. Versus kind of like what you were saying, a man is okay with having an empty relationship as long as there's just somebody there so that there's just someone always there.
so
That stability is there.
should a man be worried about dating a woman who has no friends?
Probably. No, I'm just kidding. Because again, that's also a transitional phase, right? Like everyone goes through life where friends come and go as you evolve and grow.
Yeah,
Because everybody's perspectives will change and how they define relationships and friendships and loyalty and everything changes. Typically around every 5 years.
mm-hmm.
So if you think about it, 5 years ago, the way you saw love, the way you saw relationships, the way you saw showing up to a relationship, is that the same as you do now?
No.
Right? Like drastically different?
Yes.
Right? Because that's what happens with adult development, right? Like the way we see the world changes, the way we interact with the world changes. And so as you do that, the people in your life will also come and go and change. If they can grow with you, great. And if they don't, then you'll feel that kind of the disconnect with the other person,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, yeah, friendships come and go and things like that. But it's really important to know what these things are that matter to you so you can know what to expect from someone else,
Right.
what to ask for, how you feel that fulfillment.
Do you think like movies kind of mess with that? Like if you see a movie like when you're young or like
Of course.
and it's like
All the
this is the
Disney movies.
Disney movie like
All the
fantasize all
Disney
that kind of stuff,
movies. Yes.
but then you get to real
Romanticize
life.
toxic relationships.
It's like I feel like some from women that I've tried to date or dated, that's what they want. They want that fantasy Disney. I'm like, that's not real. It's not. They expect that. They're waiting for that to happen, and it never comes.
Maybe.
Um,
But a lot of
but
it
like there's some
also,
movies out there like, which is like kind of just this is how it is, or what's the movie called? 40 something or something.
this is 40.
This is 40 or something.
Uh-huh.
So like movie like I mean it's funny, it's farcical, it's I'm not saying that's the way it is, but it's like it's not all
Fluffy.
fluff
Yes.
and sprinkles and rainbows.
No.
Um,
But I also feel like some of the earlier movies romanticize toxic relationships, right? Like the 40 Christmases.
oh, King and Queens.
Definitely. Definitely. Or Seinfeld or Friends. There was so much
Friends.
toxicity in Friends. Yes. Right? These perceptions of what a woman is supposed to be and what a man is supposed to be and what a man cannot do or whatever. The lack of communication. There's so much of that that people, yes, grew up with thinking that that was normal. Or like, I remember there was some movie with Jennifer Aniston and whatever that guy from 40 Christmases is. What is his
Vince
name?
Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. Yes, I don't like him very much. And just the role that he plays. It's always this disinterested, not paying attention. I'm just kind of there, and you're my companion. That's a role that repeats in a lot of his movies, and then the woman eventually gets fed up with that. Like
I think. I mean, yeah.
there was that
I
scene
see a
where
lot
she
of
was
it.
like, "Can you get me some lemons? I'm going to use that," and then he got like two.
Yeah.
She was like, "It's supposed to be for a centerpiece," and he's like, "Who cares? Whatever." very dismissive, and that theme is normalized so much
A lot
in
of
a lot of
movies,
those
yeah.
movies.
And even commercials. You have commercials where it's the wife who's cleaning and does everything, and the husband is just stupid and dumb and doesn't know how to work anything.
Right. And
So,
that perpetuates it to where, yes, women now, I'd rather be alone than be in a position where that's the reality, right? Because if I have to go get it by myself, I'll just go get it by myself instead of relying on you to do it and then being disappointed when you don't care enough to show up,
mm-hmm.
right? Like that's where I think women's empowerment has gotten right now. I don't know, and I really like the way you're like, yeah, and the man is just stupid and he doesn't know what to do, because that's still going on. That discrepancy hasn't been filled yet. Where women, when I was growing up, I was taught to be my dad's son, right? So yes, I can put up wallpaper. Um, as someone was mentioning earlier today in my meeting, like, oh, you put that up yourself. Yes, I did. And then I regretted it, but it got done,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or I can fix the washing machine, or I can fix the garbage disposal. I've been taught to do these things, but also show up to be very, very feminine. So I have to be the masculine, right? Be competent, intelligent, successful, high achieving, all of those things. I was my dad's eldest son, which is also a cultural thing because he didn't have any boys. But then I also had to be the woman, the feminine. Be kind, be understanding, be empathic, be the nurturer, be the maternal figure as well. So I don't think it's the man's fault. um, I think that was society, right? As women's empowerment grew, we were taught to be all the things and do the things. But I don't know if the focus was then put on the boys growing up, like I do with my sons,
Mm-hmm.
where they need to know how to show up as a partner. They need to know how to cook. They know they've been doing their laundry since they were 4 years old. Not well. A lot of my things have turned pink, but it doesn't matter because I've taught them you need to be self-sufficient in the domestic life to be there. One of the things I tell them is, are you giving as much love as you're taking? That's what I've been telling my sons since they were little, 6, 7 years old, since they can understand reciprocal relationships. I've been teaching them these things.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if the men in my age group were also taught you have to show up equally in these other roles that they didn't have to before and that they didn't see their dads doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where a big part of that gap is, where women expect men to do more than just show up with the wallet. And I don't know if men were taught how to.
I mean, I guess not. I mean, like my parents were like when I was growing up, like we had to do yard work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I grew up, I was like, I'm never doing yard work again. I'm just gonna pay someone to do it.
Sure. But what about
Um,
the cooking and the laundry and the mopping and the dusting and listening to the person that's talking to you, being there for them emotionally?
yeah, I mean, a lot of it comes from the parents and what you see.
Right. And
Sometimes,
I didn't grow up with that. Right.
mm-hmm.
So it's,
I wonder, like for me, it's like, did I even notice it though?
but did you have to? Like, one of the things for a little girl is pay attention to the needs of others. That is always taught from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if a boy is taught to do that, to have that conscious awareness, to look outside. It's like like I tell my kids, also terrible things to tell your kids, but it is what it is. I've been telling them since they were young also, get your head out of your asshole long enough to look around how your behaviors impact someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And they would laugh because, they're 6 and 9 and mommy's using bad words.
Mm-hmm.
But to teach them to be aware of what's around you and the needs of others around you. Because again, I don't think boys were taught that. Boys were taught to go do the yard work, right? But a daughter would have been taught that person's sad, your brother's hurt, your brother's sad, your brother's whatever. And that's what they needed to focus on. Make sure you take care of this. If the person is sick, make sure you go take care of them. right? A girl is taught those things. I don't know if a boy was then. That's not something that I've seen or that I know of in my practice or my experience with my male friends who they either have that kind of innately, right? They were just a natural nurturer and caregiver,
Mm-hmm.
but not something explicitly taught because they were explicitly taught to make sure you protect, make sure you do the heavy lifting, make sure you take out the trash.
Right. I mean, yeah, looking back at all that, um, as far, I mean, I'm trying to remember, like, yeah, doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, because every parents are different. All parents are different. I wonder if it's difference between single parents and together parents. I wonder if it's kids pay more attention to their single parent than they do two parents.
I don't think so. I was like this even when, but again, I'm a therapist, right? So these are things that I needed to make sure that they are my contribution to the world,
Right.
that they would be the men that need to be the type of men out there. That was a intentional choice of mine, and I know it's also very common in, again, in women of my age range who are in relationships to make sure their sons are more emotionally attuned
Mm-hmm.
because that's not something that they had. Has that been difficult having to relearn? Like you said, you see the relationships and love differently now than you did 5 years ago.
Has
Has
been.
it been difficult to learn how to be all the things that weren't there before, maybe?
Um,
Like needing to be aware of the needs of the other person, like you had mentioned,
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
and then more than just a companion.
yes.
How so?
Um,
Because it can be done, right? I teach all of my male clients how to show up and, cultivate these things. Same with female clients. Like, I'm not saying one or the other, but
right.
there's definitely more of a discrepancy in that.
I don't know if. Well, I mean, I guess it's been. I mean, I'm not because I was single for 5 years before I got married again.
What's the quote?
Like single, kind of like when you're single, it's you, right? It's
Yeah,
all about you,
right.
and then you
I see.
get married, and you have kids. Oh crap, responsibility and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard transition. Maybe some people are slower than others to get it, or they're just not getting it. They're not understanding it. So it has to repetition, repetition, repetition. I guess kind
Of
of
what?
thing to give the need of the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, so I mean, it was. I mean, it was. I wouldn't say it was difficult. Like, oh my gosh, my heart. It wasn't difficult. It was just getting over. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. Um, and repetition of going that through your head and like. But I think for some, it can get difficult to the point where they break up. And it's too late, kind of thing. Um, but I wouldn't say it was difficult.
What do you think the challenge is
Um,
that you've seen with your friends?
um, I don't know. I don't know if like I think maybe it's just. I'm not saying it's like a man thing or whatever, but like I mean, from my experience, to me, I think men can be more self-absorbed than women.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Because it's not a
I
it's
don't
not a
know.
chemical imbalance, right? It's not a different structure in the brain.
I just think in like throughout history,
It's societal.
it's I mean, it's even through the Roman times. It's like women were here, men were here. That's just the mentality. It's always been like kind of me, 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 and it's just get passed down from generation to generation. Um,
And I think that's maybe what the struggle is now because that is something that's taught and passed down in generations. And women are now like, that's not enough. That's not okay.
yeah.
it's not worth having for a woman the disappointment of not having that reciprocal relationship anymore. And I, like you're saying, men are more or are conditioned to be more self-absorbed. So for them to meet the woman in that way now is something that they're having to unlearn.
Right. Um,
Like a behavior. I don't think it's like a man versus woman kind of thing. It's definitely not that, but it is something that's been normalized for so long, and then it's not anymore.
right.
And there's a consequence now for it when there wasn't a consequence before.
There's not a lot of information out there like that, or education wise.
And that's why we're doing this.
Um,
Because I would a couple of things. I love the way you kind of mentioned some of the things. Like, yeah, the first time that you got married, it was more of a companionate kind of thing. And I think that's very important to highlight, because a lot of men, if they actually stop and think about it, that is true. They rely on that relationship to fulfill all the things, right? The social need, the communication need, the emotional need, all the needs, but from that one person.
right.
But they're not equipped and haven't learned how to give it back, which is why therapy is important, right? Or life coaching, like you do, coaching other men or other people to have these skills, because that's all it is. It's just skills.
Right.
Awareness is a skill, right? Communication is a skill. Relational skills are skills.
And yeah, you're not gonna be perfect at it.
No one's perfect.
You're not
No
gonna
one's
be.
perfect
You're
at
not gonna be.
anything.
What's the favorite cartoon character? Prince something. One of those princes in Disney World. It's not gonna be that at all. It's not gonna be.
They're all toxic.
I think. Well, yeah, but I think the difficult part is consistency, maybe for some.
Yes.
And so, but you got to take that. I don't know. I think you still got to be reminded of like um, it's not for the women's side too. The consistency might not be there all the time, but the effort
Right.
depends on the effort though.
Right.
I have to say.
Do you think effort is just as important as communicating that effort?
Like actions speak more than words.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go pick up the youngest.
Yes.
Hey, buddy. Okay, I'll come pick you up. All right. Bye.
But even that, answering that call while we're recording this podcast, that shows that showing up for your family, him mattering enough for you to answer that call to say, I'll be there. Right? I think in doing those things, it's important to show that there are different ways that you can show up.
Right. It has to be like big, just like little things, just
big. It's
and I don't think
daily.
men think that they have to do the big things for the women.
They do think so?
I think they do.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Unless
So
the
they
woman
pre-plan like
communicates
this big hurrah
like this is
instead
what
of the
I'm going to give
daily
you.
consistent.
Right.
Right.
Maybe. I don't. I mean.
No, I think it's that.
But then
you
complacency
need to give,
and being comfortable can also be
right,
a downfall.
100%. Because again, that's when you communicate, whether you intend to or not, that this person is not important to you anymore.
Yeah. I mean, complacency it can be a deadly thing throughout life. My job, other jobs, being comfortable. Always like tell people embrace being uncomfortable.
Okay.
I just learned I still have a hard time doing that, like being
Embracing being
uncomfortable and being
uncomfortable.
comfortable and like just go through it.
Yeah.
So
But embrace the uncomfortable. Yeah. So if you're nervous about the date or nervous about making a move or nervous about bringing up an issue that needs to be discussed, just do it anyways. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Okay.
like be uncomfortable.
Be uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable.
Change is uncomfortable. So once you get comfortable, that's when things just
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you for indulging us. We will talk about whatever else next.